This is Damon Stevens with FinWealth Builders with a market update for Monday, May 3rd, 2021. Let's start out first by looking at our website. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe or check out our other videos as we post daily updates on how the market's doing and things that are changing across the markets. This is earnings week, and we're right in the middle of earnings. As you can see, this is the schedule for this week, and there's a lot of companies that will be reporting. And one of the things we don't recommend is buying ahead of the market when stock earnings are coming out, but to see kind of how the stocks move after earnings. If you're in a long-term hold, then of course, that's up to you as far as if you're going to continue holding through earnings or not. But if you're a day trader, consider, the risk that's tied to buying before earnings. So let's go ahead and go through some earnings and as well as some other stocks, and hopefully these will help you, give you some ideas of good trades that are out there. So again, this is earnings, and just to give you an idea, so far, as you can see, 87% are beating earnings. It's 812, and there's 123 misses. So overall, the earnings have been positive for companies that have reported so far. If you're looking at today, this morning, Estee Lauder is one of the ones who reported. They were below their expectations, analyst expectations, and you can see that the stock did fall down actually below the 50 moving average and stopped at 288.93. And, below here's the 100 where it could find support possibly and bounce off. So it's hard to say where Estee Lauder is going to go. But for right now, there's negative sentiment on this market, on this stock. And so just be careful if you're out there trading or you have this as part of your portfolio. It may take a dip here and hopefully find support at some point and recover. So this is Chegg. This reported this afternoon after close. You can see that it's bounced off the 200 moving average. Now this is the third time. Hopefully it's found support here at the end of the day. Hopefully continues with holding support and hopefully can bounce off and start to head back up. The earnings were actually positive. They actually beat the analyst estimates, but it still had a negative downturn and it bounced off the 200. If it goes up, if it does bounce off the 200, you can possibly go back up to 88.56 or go back up here towards support at 94.19 or up to 90.98 or above. If it doesn't and it breaks support, it's going to probably come down to support prior support here at 88 or 80.33 or $72 a share. So just keep that in mind if that's part of your portfolio or you're looking to day trade Estee Lauder or Chegg. So earnings for Tuesday, for tomorrow, there's several companies reporting. I'm just going to cover a couple of them here. You can see the Xilinx is actually before the earnings. You can see that they kind of bounced up and they hit close to 140 and then fell down by the end of the day. Today, after a couple of days, down to 123.55. They did find support on the 200. It could bounce off. You can see that it found support before, but it's also broken down through support. And you can see that if it does break through the 200, more likely it's going to come back and revisit the 117 area or possibly clear down to the 111.84 area as well to find support. So just keep that in mind if you are trading Xilinx, that you keep that in mind. So so another one that's going to be reporting is Lyft. You can see that Lyft was on an upward trend for several days, kind of leveled off here, and then it's kind of dipped down just before earnings, and it came down to the 50. It's bounced off of actually this is the 100, broke through the 50 down to the 100, found support, and it's been there for the last couple of days. Looks like it's possibly trying to move in a positive direction here at 57.08 and possibly go back up north towards 60 or higher. But if it doesn't hold the 100, it may break down and come back down and test on this 200, which should be support for it at 48.91 currently. So just keep that in mind tomorrow as we go into the earnings and they report the earnings as far as these two stocks. So now let's go ahead and hop over to the SPY. This is the S&P 500 proxy. And this is the SPY, and you can see today that it closed at 418.20. It's closing above the 5 EMA, so that's a very bullish sign. You can see that everything's upward sloping. It's above all the moving averages. We've been reaching all-time highs. We reached all-time highs a couple days ago, but we continue to maintain that bullish trend. And so as long as we stay above the 5, we can continue to break up. It could be possibly, up to 422, 424 or higher. We don't really know how high it'll go. If it starts to break down, it should start to find support here at the 20 at 412.86 or 408, 404, and hopefully nothing below 402 before finding good support and filling this gap that we have here. So just keep that in mind as you're trading the levels, and that'll help you hopefully stay safe in your trades. And then this is the VIX. So this is the reverse of the SPY. So this gives you the idea as far as what the SPY is doing. So as the SPY moves up, the VIX moves down, the SPY moves up, and vice versa. Typically, they go the opposite direction. So you can see that the VIX is a bit low. It's actually at 1831 right now. As long as it stays below 20, typically the market will continue to be able to rise higher. Once it starts to go above 20 on the VIX, then you have the risk that the market may pull back a little bit. So just another indicator that you can watch, another way to measure how the market's doing from a health-wise as far as whether it's bullish or bearish. So this is a triple Q, so Nasdaq. So if you look at the triple Qs, they did pull back today and down to the 20, and that's where they found support. As long as it continues to hold the 20, it has a potential to bounce up and move back up towards the high of 342.80 or continue to climb higher. If it doesn't hold here and breaks down, it could come back down and revisit the 50 down at 328.77. So just keep that in mind, those levels, and that way you can stay safe. There's a gap still down here that has not been filled. They would have to be filled down here at 320, but it'd have to break through this 50 moving average to get down into that gap, to fill that gap. So just keep that in mind. Semiconductors, as you can see, the semiconductors has had a few down days. Actually, it's broken down through the 50 EMA on a daily chart, down at 240. Hopefully, you can find some support here. If not, it could continue down to the 100 here at 232.92 before it finds support. So just keep that in mind if you're in the semiconductor space. And sometimes if you see semiconductors selling off, you see the triple Qs selling off. That's all technology, and so you can see that they're starting to come down. So that tells you that money's probably flowing to either other parts of the market or the market's having a little bit of pullback after moving north, being bullish for so long. So this is the Russell 2000 proxy, IWM, and you can see that it's been on bullish momentum. You can see today, though, it did close below the 5 EMA, still above the 20 EMA. So as long as it continues to hold here, it has the potential to bounce up and to head back up towards highs, 231, 234, or higher. If it does break down, it still could possibly find support here at 224.53 at the 20, or break down, if it does break down further, down to the 50 at 221.57 today. So just keep that in mind on the Russell. Dow Jones proxy, DIA. So it's currently sitting at 341.11. You can see that it's extended above the 5 EMA, so it's very bullish right now, reaching close to all-time highs again. So very bullish on the Dow Jones at this point. So keep that in mind. The next levels up are again back up to the 342.43, 344 or higher. If it does break down past the 5 EMA, it could come back down to the 20. Right, that's currently at 337.67. Could come down here to 334, or could fill this gap here that comes down to 331.52. So just keep that in mind. There's a gap fill here just before the 50 moving average. If it can stay up here and hover, these moving averages do move up eventually. So these support lines will rise up here as long as this maintains a bullish momentum. So gold is in a positive direction. It's actually broke above the 200 for the second day. Didn't hold, it held down back on the 50, but you can see that the momentum has been moving up into more of a bullish pattern. So as long as it can continue to stay above the 50 and eventually move back to the 200, you can see it moving back up to 1800 or 1827 or higher. If it does break down, you're going to see support down here at 1768 or 1766, and eventually possibly down to 1752, where it should find some type of support. So that's gold. Silver, very bullish. The last couple of days, you can see that it bounced up over here above the support to 26. Around $26, $27, and it's maintained that. It is extended above the 5, so it's in a very bullish pattern. Typically, if stock though moves too far beyond the 5 EMA, either time has to go by to where it catches up, or this could possibly drop down and dip down and back down to the 5. So just keep that in mind. But very bullish at this point on the silver. So let's talk about Bitcoin. So looking at Bitcoin, current price is 56.50, actually 56.1828 as we're looking at this. You can see that it's closed below the 5 EMA, but you can see this grouping of the moving averages have all come in. And so as long as it maintains this area, then Bitcoin does have a chance to continue to move back up to 58,000, and then hopefully back up to a high of 65,000, and then the next level would be 72,000. So keep that in mind. If it does have a breakdown, if it doesn't hold these moving averages, it could break back down to the 55,000 range. If it doesn't find that, it could come down to this 50,400 down here at the 100, and then you had support down here again at around 47,000. So just keep that in mind. The 200s actually clear down here at 40,000. So right now it's still very bullish as long as it maintains its current levels or moves higher. So Ethereum, so you can see Ethereum is at how far it moved up. So very bullish sign, very far extended above the 5, and today it's maintaining and holding that bullish momentum. And so so Ethereum's looking great, looking at all-time highs. Where it's at now, if you extend it out, you could be going up to 3,800. If it falls back, it could fall back to the 5, around 3,100. I could drop down to 2,800 as well. Should find some support there. If not, down here around 2,500, it should find some level of support here where it's seen it before the breakout. So keep that in mind. So Dogecoin, you can see that we had a good elevated level that we hit before. We've hit it once, twice, and this is the third time. And now we're setting this in for the 4th. So you can see that we're above all the moving averages. It's hit this peak a few times, so it should find a little bit of resistance here. If it breaks through this level, then it can start to accelerate and move higher. If it does break down, it may come down and find support here where it did before, around 40, or down to 36, or down here to around 30 cents, or down here to 28. So should find support if it does drop down here. Again, this is all technical. It's not the emotional side of the market. So I mean, there could be catalysts of bad news or good news or something else that could possibly move this higher or lower. So just keep that in mind. So XRP, you can see XRP kind of pulled back here a little bit, and it did touch the 20 moving average. You can see that it bounced back up and actually closed above just below the 5 EMA. So so it did at least find support at the 20, and hopefully will continue to bounce up here. And as it curves up, it should find some support and be able to bounce back up and hopefully start to head north again. If it doesn't head back up to its high of around $2, then it could come back down and retest some of these lows down here at the 50, which is around $1.12. Or you could come down here to the 100 around 87. So just keep that in mind. If you're trading, again, this is all technical, does not cover any emotions that possibly could be out there or potential news that could be driving the stock one way or the other. So this is Gamestop, and you see Gamestop has kind of consolidated down here for several days. And so it's just kind of hovering here between 132 and 176. You see that today it broke below the moving averages, still above the 50 though, so it has not come back down here to find support. And you can see before that it found support around that area. So as long as it stays above this 50 EMA, it should be able to find support. If that does break through, then it could come down to the 100 here at 123, could come down to the 200 at 83. But if it can break back up above the 200, it could go up to 240 or higher. But I don't know. This is a tricky stock, so it's hard to say where this is going to go. A lot of it's been driven by prior from Reddit and some others, but it's continued to maintain some strongholds. There's been some good news with the company, so we'll see what it does. But at least those are your support levels. All right, so let's go to AMD. So AMD kind of is grouped in with that GameStop. So you can see that AMD did have an attempt to run up here close to 90 before retracing clear back down to the 200. So you can see that there's a large support here at the 200. There's several days here. You found resistance here, support here. So you can see that the 200 has been a good area for support for the stock. So as long as it can maintain this and bounce off, it's great. It can continue to move back up north again. If it fails, then we start to revisit some of these other areas around 74 or clear down to 71. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. See what happens. So if you're a pot stock holder, so Curaleaf was one of the ones that I followed and have traded, and you can see that it's had a great couple days, a great run after consolidating several days. It had a nice bounce. It's bouncing above all the moving averages, so hopefully this can hold it. You can see that it's extended above all those, so it's going to take some time for this either to rest. It could possibly continue going higher, but a resting point where the moving averages can move and catch up to provide some good support for Curaleaf down currently where it's at now, around $15. If they can find support around $15, it could continue to move back up. Could move up to around 17, 1750, and then 18 if it can find good momentum. And you can see the volume has picked up, just started to pick up as well. So that's helpful in moving the stock higher. So just keep that in mind if you're trading some pot stocks. Constellation Brands is another one. And you see it has very good bullish momentum. It's above all the moving averages. So another good strong stock right now. And so this is just another stock to consider. The volume's not quite as high as I'd like to see, but you can see that it's moving up a little bit higher than where it's been the last few days. So this has potential moving up, back up. You can see that it had support. It had a resistance at 242.62 before, and it's kind of hovering right there. And it also had it back here back in January. So you can see that this has been an area of resistance. Let's try to break through it a couple times. So if they can break through and hold a close over here, it should continue to start moving higher. And the next goal would be going up to around the 249 range. If it breaks down through here, either on bad news or other reports, then you could see it possibly come back down and find support here at the 20 at 236.75 or down to the 100 here at 231.59. If it does find, if it does break down, it could find support here at the 20 here at 236.75 or down to the 50 at 231.59. So just keep that in mind. It looks like it's also broken down to the to the 100 before. You can see the support here and here. So just keep that in mind as well if you're trading this stock. So that's Constellation. So the next one is Win. And the Win, you can see that it started to move up in a more bullish format. It's trying to get out of this bear market back into a bullish format. It's holding above right now today. It closed above all the moving averages. They haven't curled up yet to hold support there, but if they can hold this area and move up, it can start to go back up again, and it'll probably find resistance, somewhere around the 132 range. Looks like the 137 range, and then as it moves up towards the high of 143, which will probably take a while, and that'll take a lot of momentum. There's a few resistance areas for it to break through. If it does fail, it should come back down and find support here, hopefully at the 50. If that fails, then you have the 100 down here at 119.73. So hopefully it finds support there. I know this is a lot, but hopefully this at least gives you some ideas of some positive moving stocks and some opportunities possibly that be out there for you to trade if you're looking for opportunities right now. So Starbucks, you can see that Starbucks is above all the moving averages. It had a little bit of a dip, but it recovered and found support and has moved back up in a bullish format now. It closed a little bit down from its high today, but it's still on a support level. So as long as it maintains this, you can see it's above all the moving averages. We should hopefully have a move up, back up towards this 118.98. If it does fail, hopefully it comes back and finds support down here at 114, if not down here to the 50 at 111.17. So hopefully it'll find support there, but so far Starbucks is moving in a positive direction. So Wingstop, you can see that it's actually been moving up. It broke out here just a few days ago, and it's been on a very bullish run. You can see it's extended above the 5 at 160, where it's kind of broken, where it's settled today. So very bullish movement. It's a quick movement, so just keep that in mind. That either it's going to have to have the moving averages catch up to it to provide a level of support for it, or it could pull back down here, but it very well could have momentum to move towards the last high here at 172.87, where it will find some resistance and could bounce back down. But as long as the current moment here is, as it has found resistance twice here, working to break out. If it does break out, then we should see some higher highs here. If not, then you have support below, where it should hopefully find a level of support. Worst case scenario, down here where before it broke out around 140, it would find a lot of support. So just keep that in mind. Moderna. So Moderna is in a very bullish. You can see the move here, the breakout move over the last several days. It continues to hold above the moving averages, and it's extended above the 5. You can see that it's hit resistance a little bit here. Back here, you can see back in February, it had a few points of resistance here, and back in January as well. So it's got to break through this level here, hold and break through at some point. Be able to move up to new highs here. If not, it'll probably break down and may find support here down at 174 area, or possibly down here at the 20 at 165. You can see though that it's been mainly holding and trailing above the 20 moving average. So it's been finding good support along the way. So it does have good momentum. It's moving in a bullish format. So far it's looking good. Just got to break through these resistance areas. So OCGN is another one that I've been trading. You can see that it had a breakout here a few days ago, and man, it's just been on a rip going north. So you can see that it's way above all the moving averages. It is extended. It could continue to move up, towards 17, 18, $20 on OCGN. But it could also, at this point where it's so far extended, and you kind of have a gap here, it very well could retrace back, 50% of the move here. So just keep in mind that it does have a gap here to fill. So if it doesn't extend up and find support with the volume that it's been having, then it could pull back a little bit. If it pulls back it may pull back down towards the bottom of this around $14 and find support, or it may fill this gap. If it fills this gap, it may drop a little bit lower to try to find support, maybe around kind of the 1250 range, or maybe even around 1160. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, it is a far extended, but what a great run this has been on this stock. So just something to watch and keep an eye on if you're interested in this particular sector and this stock. Delta Airlines, I brought this up just because I've been seeing some movement as things have been moving out of tech. I've been trying to figure out, where are the next trades, and so I'm looking for the other sectors that are moving up more in a bullish format with the tech pulling back as it's been doing. So here, this is Delta Airlines. You can see it's not above all the moving averages. It's trying to attempt to get above there. It did find support down here at the 100, bounce back up above this 50 move, moving average, and you see that it's kind of consolidated here. So long as it can hold this and continue moving up and forward, it can start to move back up towards these highs around 50, 51, 52. So far it's in a positive motion, moving up. It could break back down though, and if it does, then it's going to come back and try to find some support somewhere around the 45 range or the 44 range. And if it failed there, I mean, here's a 200 down here at 41.50. So it should find worst case scenario support down here. But you can see that you've had support here, here, and here. So it has held pretty well above that 50. And you can see down here even back here in March that it touched the 50 and found support there, just checked in at home. So that 50 moving average is a good spot for support. So keep that in mind. CCL Carnival, you can see that it's had a few dips as well, but always kind of bounces below that 50. It comes back up above it. So right now you see it's closed above all the moving averages, which is great. So we're moving in the right direction to move up. So you can see that above it, you can see there's support around 28. You have some around 30, and then a high here that had to break through around 30.50 that is going to have to break through, where it's going to have some resistance. If it does break through and doesn't hold on these moving averages, it may come back and revisit this 50. It's currently around 26.50, and should hopefully find support and be able to bounce off again as it has in the past. So just another idea that we're throwing out there. So these are the stocks I'm watching or trading just to see some opportunities of where things are moving in the market. They're always shifting. Also keeping a close eye on the SPY and the triple Qs, and just making sure that the Dow Jones and Nasdaq are holding a good support level. Because if they start to pull back, these other stocks could pull back as well. So just keep that in mind and trade safe out there. And I wish you success out there. So again, subscribe to our channel if you want to see future videos. Hopefully these videos have been helpful. I know they're a little bit long, but I want to cover kind of each area a little bit for everybody.